we've talked mostly about behavioral things we can do, right? Concrete behaviors we can implement. And even as we talked about that, we took a moment to talk about how our thoughts, the way we think, is influencing those behaviors. Because sometimes our thinking is useful, and sometimes it is not. It's getting in the way. So a few years ago, I travel a fair bit for my speaking work, and a few years ago I was at Pearson in Toronto at the airport. And you know how Pearson has the stairs and the bookstore is over here and the Vancouver gates are over there. And so I'm stopped at that bookstore, and Alex, my son at the time, was 5. So I'm looking at kids' books. And I find this book magnificent. It's called When Daddy Travels, and it basically describes everything that happens to the parent while they're away. So you see the parent wave goodbye to the family, get in the taxi, go in the plane, laptop in the plane, all the things that I do, right? Then meeting in the boardroom, and you know, literally, it's exactly it. And you know, 5 years old, it's harder to catch, to understand, why is mom gone for these amount of days? What exactly is she doing? Right, you're counting the sleeps, but you know. So I'm thinking, that would be so good. When Daddy Travels. So I'm like, okay, what's wrong with this world, right? That in this day and age, we're still in this situation where daddy is the person traveling. And what is this author thinking? What if mommy travels? What if we have a lesbian couples with kids? What do they do, right? So I'm thinking, there's no way I'm supporting this author. I am not buying this book. And I leave. And all the way to my gate, I mutter to myself in French, je peux pas croire, franchement, qu'on en soit encore là. Puis so I go. The week after, back to Pearson. I'm based here in Vancouver. So, okay, back to Pearson. And I've calmed down by then. Because then I'm thinking, okay, I definitely want to show equality to my son. That's very important for me. But right now he's 5. And perhaps the first thing I should focus on is this thing. So I sort of got over it. I go back to the bookstore, ready to pick up When Daddy Travels. I'll make the adjustments. Fine. And so I get to the bookstore, and I look for the book, can't find the book. So I asked someone who works there, I say, oh, you know, I was looking, and I'm not even ticked off by then. I'm totally educator-like, you know. I was looking for this book, When Daddy Travels, and she's like, oh, we're out, unfortunately. So I'm like, so I'm about to leave, and she says, but we have this, and I don't want anything else. I want When Daddy Travels. And she pulls When Mommy Travels. So I say, oh, is this new? And she says, no, we've had it for about a month. Ah. So fact, my assumptions, right? I had gone with all my assumptions, didn't ask, didn't look it up online, didn't anything. It was spinning all the way with this, where I didn't check my assumptions. And my point with this is that that's also what I see in the workplace, where sometimes there will be a conflict happening, and mostly, it has now spiraled down and everything, but mostly it's because it started with people not checking their assumptions. They got in the way. So if part of what we do as we work on our resilience is check how we're thinking, catch our, at times, biased thinking, which we all have, obviously, we all do. Me, I do, for sure. But if we try to catch it, that's going to make us even more resilient.